Okay, for this quick review, I just wanted to go over the weathering and climate chart that we've had in this unit. Okay, here you'll see we have the average yearly precipitation on this axis. Okay, on the bottom axis, we have the average yearly temperature in Celsius. Okay, so basically, if it's negative 20 over here, as you get warmer, weathering is going to increase. Okay, and that's going to be for both chemical and mechanical. Okay. As yearly precipitation increases, basically you're going to get an increase in weathering. Okay. Now, there's going to be a big difference between whether you have mechanical weathering, which is, if you remember the chocolate chip cookie analogy, if I'm biting down on the chocolate chip cookie, I am mechanically breaking it down. I'm not changing the composition of what I'm breaking down, for instance, in this case, the rock, but I'm basically just making it into smaller pieces. Okay. As I go this way, this is an example of the chocolate chip cookie basically dissolving with the saliva, okay, as the chemicals start to break it down. Okay, so an example over here, okay, if it's really cold and there's not a lot of precipitation, this is going to be an example of like Antarctica. You're going to get a lot of ice, but because you don't have a change in temperature, it's just going to build up, okay. There's really not a lot of weathering because there's not a lot going on. Okay, as I move up in temperature and with precipitation, in this case the yearly precipitation increases. Over in this area you're going to have a lot of mechanical weathering. It's going to be not a lot of temperature change, so you're not going to get the chemical. So an example over here would be like Siberia or Alaska tundra, where basically you have some plant life, but you don't have the big upswings up and down with the temperature. Moving over here, in this extreme corner, you're going to have a lot of heat. So remember, 30 degrees Celsius or centigrade is going to be roughly the equivalent to like 90 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which you guys are used to in the United States. Okay. In this area, I don't have a lot of precipitation, okay, and I have a lot of heat. So this area is going to be an example like Arizona, okay. You're going to have a lot of rock, sandy stuff, and it's going to be a lot of chemical or very slight weathering, okay, because there's not a lot of mechanical or chemical going on. Going all the way up, I have a lot of precipitation and a lot of heat. This is going to be an example of like a tropical rainforest, okay, in Brazil. Basically, I'm going to have a lot of chemical breakdown of stuff because it's basically coming and going with the rain and the heat, okay. And then in the Midwest, this is kind of a nice middle thing, Midwest of the United States. You have moderate chemical and frost action, okay? This is due to the high upswing and downswing with temperatures. Think of the frost wedging. If I have a crack in a sidewalk, the water's going to get in there. It's going to freeze overnight, and then it's going to expand. Okay, when it expands by up to 9%, and this causes the rock to split. Okay, we call that term frost wedging. Okay, so I'm just going to write down on here. Okay. Here I've taken the time to just put the different examples of different geographic areas on this, so you have it for your notes. Again, strong to moderate mechanical weathering is going to take place in more colder, moderate temperature locations such as like Siberia or Alaska. Basically, these are going to be places that are typically pretty cold, but they still do have some plant life, okay? It might only be warm there for a couple months out of the year. It might only get up to 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit there, but plant life does exist. You're not going to get a lot of tall trees or anything. You might have some, but it's going to be more like grassy areas, okay? So you're going to have the tundra, the rain, and the biological plants, so that's, again, going to be mostly like tree roots from small plants. It's going to go down. As these react, you're going to get the frost wedging, okay? As you get colder in like an Arctic area, so we're talking like North or South Pole, you do get moderate levels of precipitation, but because it's so cold and it never gets above freezing, the precipitation, rain or snow just builds up, so then you get glaciers and other things. That's going to be slight to mechanical, basically, because you're going to get the ice action, but you're not going to have any chemical weathering because it never gets warm there, and because you don't get that plant life and increase in temperature, you're not going to get a ton of mechanical weathering. Okay, down on this extreme, where you have a really warm environment, but not a lot of precipitation, classic examples can be Arizona. Up in this corner, that's the rainforest, very warm, so you're going to get a strong chemical, basically because you have the high temperature and the high precipitation or water rate. And then right in here, a great example would be the Midwest of the United States. Okay, so Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, Ohio, Missouri. Okay, that would be examples for this. Hope this helps.